Most people believe they are in control of their own thoughts. That every decision they make is their own. That their choices are logical, rational, and independent. But what if that's not true? What if, at this very moment, your thoughts are being influenced, shaped, even controlled, by forces you don't even notice? Because the truth is disturbing. You are being manipulated every single day. Not just by governments or corporations, but by friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers. And the worst part? The most powerful manipulation is the one you never see. Machiavelli once suggested that power is not about force. It's about control. Silent control. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that slips into your mind, and makes you believe the idea was yours. Today, you're going to uncover 9 psychological tactics that people use to control you. And once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. The first tactic is called framing. Imagine someone presents you with a choice. But instead of giving you neutral information, they shape the way the information is presented. For example, they don't say, there's a 20% chance of failure. They say, there's an 80% chance of success. Same reality. Different perception. And your brain? It reacts completely differently. Because humans don't respond to truth. They respond to perception. Whoever controls the frame controls the decision. This is used everywhere. Marketing. Politics. Relationships. Even arguments. The moment someone controls how you see something, they begin to control what you believe about it. And once they control your beliefs, they control your actions. The second tactic is emotional triggering. Logic is slow. Emotion is fast. So manipulators don't try to convince you logically. They make you feel fear, guilt, anger, excitement. Because when you're emotional, your brain stops questioning and starts reacting. And starts reacting. Think about the last time you made a decision in anger, or fear, or excitement. Did you analyze it carefully? Or did you act instantly? That's exactly what manipulators rely on. They create emotional pressure. So you don't have time to think. Because thinking is the enemy of control. The third tactic is social proof. Humans are not independent thinkers. We are social creatures. We look at others to decide what's right. What's normal. What's acceptable. So when you see a lot of people doing something, your brain assumes it must be correct. That's why trends exist. That's why viral content spreads. That's why people follow crowds. Even when the crowd is wrong. A manipulator doesn't need to convince you directly. They just need to show you that everyone else agrees. And suddenly, you start agreeing too. Without even realizing why. The fourth tactic is repetition. If you hear something once, you question it. If you hear it twice, you consider it. But if you hear it again and again, your brain begins to accept it as truth. Not because it is true, but because it is familiar. This is how beliefs are programmed. Through repetition. Advertisements use this. Media uses this. People use this. Say something enough times. And eventually, it stops sounding like an opinion. And starts sounding like a fact. The fifth tactic is authority. Humans are wired to obey authority figures. If someone appears powerful, confident, successful, or knowledgeable, we automatically trust them more. Even when we shouldn't. That's why uniforms matter. Titles matter. Status matters. Because they create the illusion of authority. And once someone is seen as an authority, their words carry more weight. even if those words are wrong. The sixth tactic is scarcity. When something feels limited, it becomes more valuable. Not because it actually is, but because your brain fears losing it. Only a few spots left. These phrases trigger urgency. And urgency kills rational thinking. You stop analyzing. You stop questioning. You act quickly. Because you don't want to miss out. And in that moment, control shifts away from you. The seventh tactic is reciprocity. If someone gives you something, you feel an obligation to give something back. Even if you didn't ask for it. Even if you don't want to. It's a psychological debt. And manipulators use it strategically. They give small favors. Compliments. Attention. And then later, they ask for something bigger. And you feel uncomfortable saying no. Because your brain tells you, you owe them. The eighth tactic is consistency pressure. Once you say something publicly, or take a position, your brain wants to stay consistent with it. Even if you were wrong. Even if new information appears. Because changing your mind feels uncomfortable. It feels like losing identity. So manipulators get you to commit early. Even in small ways. And then later. They use that commitment to guide your behavior. Step by step. Until you're fully aligned with what they want. The ninth tactic is the most dangerous. It's called identity manipulation. Instead of controlling your actions directly, they control how you see yourself. Because once your identity changes, your behavior follows automatically. If you believe you're a loyal person, you stay in situations you shouldn't. If you believe you're not confident, you avoid opportunities. If you believe something is just who you are, you stop questioning it. And that's the ultimate control. Because now, they don't need to manipulate you anymore. You control yourself. Exactly the way they want. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. These tactics are not rare. They are everywhere. In conversations. In relationships. In media. In society. And even in your own thinking patterns. Because sometimes, the person manipulating you is you. The beliefs you repeat. The emotions you follow. The identities you accept. All of it shapes your reality. So the question is not, are you being manipulated? Because you are. The real question is, are you aware of it? Because awareness is the first step to power. The moment you start noticing these patterns, something changes. You pause. You question. You think. And that alone breaks the cycle. Because manipulation only works when you're unconscious. When you're reactive. When you're unaware. But once you see the game, you start playing it differently. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop following blindly. You stop accepting things at face value. And you begin to take control. Not just of your decisions, but of your mind. Because real power is not controlling others. It's controlling yourself. And once you master that, no one can control you again. So the next time you feel pressure, pause. The next time something feels urgent, question it. The next time everyone agrees on something, think independently. Because the strongest minds are not the ones that know everything. They are the ones that question everything. And that is how you take your power back. If this opened your eyes, subscribe now, because the next video will show you how to control conversations without saying much, and most people will never understand how you do it. If you want more insights like this, like the video, subscribe, and stay ahead of those who still don't see it.